from the 1850s onwards. There was a feeling at that point that there were things that you could do to help the poor, whereas for some reason that seems to have completely fallen away now. It doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, people are very keen to help the planet, or they're very keen to help people in third world or underdeveloped countries, and when people talk about a classless society, they're absolutely wrong. Anyone that lives in a poor area of London knows that's not the case at all. Class is completely, it's cut through the whole of modern society. There are people now who have very, very little, and it's not a question of living above or below the poverty line, it's a question of opportunities. And so many young people and families just don't have opportunities now at all.
There's a lot of problems here in Clapton Park. There's like high crime, high unemployment, low education attainment, and we joined the Tenants Association because we wanted to make a difference, because we wanted to do something about it, use our skills.
Just going to the shop, seeing like 15, 20 boys doing nothing, and then you'd see 10, 15 girls doing nothing. The local council, the youth service weren't doing anything, there was nothing for them to do. And I was saying, well, I've got to live here with my 2 little kids.
The story of the Olympics internationally over a very large number of these events is that the Olympics gets in the way of local regeneration. It doesn't work. It's a very bad way of doing local regeneration, and it destroys huge swathes of the local economy in a poor area. It displaces huge numbers of people who live in the path of the Olympics redevelopment. Over 1.5 million in central Beijing, over 700,000 in Seoul in 1988. Barcelona is always promoted as the successful Olympics. Yeah. It looks very good on the surface, as do all of these claims. They look good on the surface. It's when you start looking at them in some detail and you look at the past that you begin to discover that the real story is completely different.
But we're talking an enormous budget. The budget which they claim is somewhere around about 9 billion. Actually, Sky came up with a figure of 24 billion. My figure would be somewhere around about 18, 19 billion. The corporate sector provided 700 million pounds for the London Olympics. There's another 700 million pounds went to the IOC, which doesn't specifically come to London. 700 million is peanuts. But then, on top of that, that's a tax haven over there. E20, as it now is, you don't pay any tax. If you're a corporate sponsor, you get your money back. So they reckon that 600 million will go back to the people who gave it. So what's that? There's 100 million left. And then LOCOG, as a private company, is also part of the tax haven. They get 100 million. Whole 700 million's disappeared, just like that.
The Bowback Rivers, which is the Olympic site, basically. I used to work down there, and I knew the area intimately, and it was a fantastic wildlife resource. You just wouldn't believe you're in London, and it was like that. You came off Stratford High Road and then you'd be on the waterways, and it was incredibly peaceful. It's just been completely wiped out. And to say, that you're going to have this Green Olympics, they've wiped out what is of value down there.
I think our communities, our local communities, like Hackney Wick, have taken a real beating. I suppose some of this would have been inevitable. It's a result of decline of manufacturing, say, or the globalisation. There's been victims of all that. As a result, some people can't locate themselves within their own environment, within their own community. And without that anchorage, they feel adrift.
And very often the public and the communal get lost, they get squeezed, they get marginalised. And it's very important to find ways of representing the public interest. The more that you think about this as a matter of us and them and so on, you can't build a wall high enough to protect you from your neighbour. You can't build a wall high enough to stop society encroaching on your life and vice versa. You can't build a wall big enough or long enough or high enough to stop people interacting. And a lot of the issues about public space and exactly what you say about the Olympics, they're about building walls metaphorically, sometimes literally, and it's much to be objected to.
Murder